Following our incubation at 37 degrees overnight, we now have our sample. This is one that we have prepared earlier for you. The next stage is to look at the bacteria, the colonies that are present, and try and see if there are different types of bacteria that are present. And this is actually where microbiology becomes partly art form. You really need to be able to look at things and have a very close look at the types of bacteria or the types of colonies that are present. It's going to be a little bit difficult on the video, so we're going to actually do some techniques which, if you're working in a microbiology laboratory, you'd probably be shot. But anyway, today we're going to just, when I have a look at the plate, we're actually just going to leave it open. Normally when you read a plate, you actually keep it in your hand the whole time, and it goes between your hand and back into the lid. So whenever you're not looking at something, you put it back into the lid, or you have it held in your hand. What we're going to do today, though, is we're going to actually put it onto the surface, just so that you can actually see the colonies. Hopefully they'll be nicely in focus. So the first thing that we're going to look at is, this is a plate that has been inoculated and spread. And you can see that we start off, this is our primary inoculum where there's lots of bacteria, and as we go there is less and less bacteria to the point in which we get single colonies. These single colonies are basically, every colony that you see on here is from a single bacteria. So one bacteria has grown, and as they grow, they double. So we've gone from 1 to 2 to 4 and so on. So we just double the number. And what we end up with is basically a pile of bacteria that grow, and they form these colonies. And each different bacteria will produce specific types of colonies. So if you have a staphylococcus, they will always produce a very specific type of colony. If you have Escherichia coli, it will produce another type of colony. And part of the art of microbiology is being able to look at these colonies and look at the way that they have grown, have a look at its structure, the way it looks, and it helps you identify what sort of bacteria are present. So if we have a look at this plate, we can actually see that we have two different types of colonies present. We have a smaller one, which is a much brighter white, and then we have this other one which is slightly larger, which is a bit more of a creamy colour. If you actually go to your appendix, you'll actually find that there is actually a table in there which actually goes through how we actually go about describing the colonies. Unfortunately, it is something that you really need to be able to do up close. You need to look at it not only from the top, you need to look at it sideways. So you actually hold it up so that you actually look to see how much the bacteria have grown, how high they've grown, whether it's what we call a convex colony where it grows high, whether it's a flat colony. Some colonies even have little indentations in them. These all are clues to the type of bacteria that are present. As I said, on here we've got two different types of colonies. So what we're going to do is we're going to take these two colonies and we're going to try and purify them so that we have pure cultures of these two colonies. which we can then use to go and do our identification of the bacteria. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to once again start up our Bunsen burner. And sterilise our straight wire and our loops. Now, as I said before, the straight wire is also known as the picker, and this is what we're going to do to pick the colonies. We'll also use the loops to spread the bacteria across the plates so that we can see individual colonies once again. Okay, so we're going to have two colonies, and today we're just going to call them colony A and colony B. And once again, we'll put the date down. Colony A will be the larger of the two colonies. So this will be this particular colony here, which is the large colony. And we're going to use the picker, and we're just going to pick the colony. Now, once again, normally what I would do is I'd be holding this in my hands, I'd be facing it towards me, and I'd be picking it very carefully that way. But to make it a bit easier to see on the video, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to leave it on the bench, and I'm just going to go down and just touch the surface. Now, you don't need to touch to poke it all the way through. In fact, that's not a good idea. It's always good just to touch the very top of the colony. I'm then going to take my plate, colony A plate, and I'm just going to take the straight wire and just scratch it back and forth across the surface so that we have our primary inoculum. Okay, once again, we'll shut that because we don't want anything falling onto there and contaminating. We will take our loop and we will go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Move it around, flip the loop over, one, two, three, four. Sterilise. Take our next loop. 1, 2, 3. Flip the loop over. And streak that out. So that's colony A. And then we're going to do exactly the same with colony B. Colony B is this smaller, very white one. It's quite, if you could see it on the side, you'll actually notice that it is very convex, whereas the larger one is quite flat. We're then going to go put that onto the plate. Oops, once again, as I say, this is usually we hold everything in our hands. We will one, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. One, 2, 3, and then the final. Okay. So we have now picked our mixed culture, and we're going to look for pure, hopefully have pure growth on these. So what we will do is we will incubate both of these plates at 37 degrees overnight, and we will have a look in the next day to actually to see what the colonies look like, and to make sure that we actually have pure colonies.